Hello there YouTube, this is the Rogue Gem player and I'm coming at you with an Endymion Pendulum deck profile. Um, I've got the cards, so I'm going to play it. And it's kind of a neat concept. This is a 40 card version of the deck. I believe I counted. Yeah, 40 card version of the deck. I like it. It's one of those cases where I like spellcasters, I like the spellbook stuff. I like Endymion, so I thought why not? And gives me an excuse to play cards I normally wouldn't play. To start with, 3 copies of Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic. This is your this is your main boss card. You want to get to this, you want to resolve it, you want him on board to freely just do things for you. He's a level 7 that you can summon. He's big. He can easily summon himself, and he pops cards. He does all kinds of stuff for you, and he continues to go into the deck without giving you basically any trouble. So, and then for the only other Endymion high level, we play the One Reflection. You kind of have to play it because it is a level 7 that you can just search, and then Pendulum Summon. It's also low skill that you can also search as well. And then we're playing 3 copies of Servant of Endymion. The best card in the entire deck. You play 3 spells and you instantly have access to any of the spell counting pendulum cards, which is quite important. Playing 3 copies of Magister. Some people like 1, some people like 2, some people don't even play this card at all. I like playing this because it is a high scale. It also is another card that says you can activate, and it summons from extra deck, which is kind of important. So it it allows you to recur monsters if you don't have access to the Pendulum Summon. And then for the Mythical Beast stuff, we're playing 3 of the Jackal King and 2 of the Cerberus. Cerberus gets into Jackal King. You can play one of the others if you'd like. This is a little 8. This is just another way of saying this stops everything. This is just another way of saying we can just run over stuff. They get big. So, and they're cool of setting up the various other cards in the deck that you play. 3 Magical Abductor. This card says you play enough spells, you get a free search every turn, and it's a semi-low scale that you can use. So, we're then playing 2 Chronograph, the 1 Astrograph. Sorcerer, you can play more. You can play their smaller variants. Their baby forms if you like. This adds you cards. This can summon other monsters from hand. They're high levels that can do things. This is also level 7, which is important for extra deck stuff. And then we're playing 1 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy for the Spellbook engine, which we'll get into in the extra deck. For hand traps, 3 Ash and 3 Nibiru. They could be whatever you want depending on your meta. These are the best generic ones because if you're going to play them, you're going to play them. Especially if you don't know the meta, it's always best to go with the ones that hurt the most. So for spells, the 1 Spellbook of Knowledge, the 1 Secrets. This is part of the Spellbook engine. So what you do is you go into Crowley and you search out the monster, you Book Magician, Spellbook of Secrets, and Knowledge, and any one of them gets to the whole thing, and it gets them all out of your deck, so you don't rip to see them. And in the event that you do draw one of the pieces, then you just don't make Crowley. 3 copies of the Spell Power Mastery. This says add a Endymion card and then add another spell counter on something. So this instantly makes Servant and have 2 counters on it. So the 3rd card, which is kind of cool because you can go Servant. If you go open up one of the Mythical Beast monsters, you can go Servant into Mastery, and then all of a sudden you have 3 counters, and then you can still activate the Mythical Beast monster if you draw that. And then 3 Institution and 1 copy of the Citadel. These are, search spell casters. This allows your spell counters to kind of float. Not to mention it generates its own counters. It's just another spell that says count, and then also it takes, you can use it, the spell counters that are on it for the effect of any of the spell counter cards. so that's kind of cool. And then the one called by the grave, and then the only traps we're playing are 3 imperm because it is a hand trap, and we want to make sure that nothing spooky goes on regarding our opponent. So, for the extra deck, there are certain cards you have to play, and there are certain cards you can get away with playing, or not playing. It really depends on how you build the deck and what you're looking for. So we'll start with 1 copy of Beyond the Pendulum, and then 1 copy of Exceed the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum is pretty good because it fetches a card, and then yes, it knocks your scales out, and then this gets a recursion like Electromite, and it's also something you can link ladder with. Link climbing is pretty good in this deck for that reason. And then because you are playing Endymion stuff, and because it's spellcasters, you're playing 2 of the Selene. She gets their bonus effect of being unaffected by stuff when there's an Endymion card, which is fine, but the fact that it says resurrect a spellcaster for free or summon a spellcaster for free is really cool, because you do make an Exceed monster in this deck, so you do put some of them in the graveyard. So, and it's easy to summon because you only need, it's generic plus with only just needing a spellcaster. The 1 Crowley, this is for the spellbook stuff. The 1 Daybreaker, this is kind of cool to play when you're playing anything with spell counters on it, because it is another free pop. And then the 1 Dark, this is mainly just because it's a spellcaster that you can summon, since a good chunk of our stuff is dark. And then for generic links, IP Masquerena, Nightmare Phoenix, along with the Promethean Princess, Amblo Whale, Appaloosa, Access Code. This can be whatever you want it to be. You can play another Beyond the Pendulum, or you can play whatever others. It kind of depends on what you want. No SP, obviously, because I don't have one, and I'm not dropping that kind of money for it. It's not practical right now until probably the end of the year. So, and I'm kind of glad this card is reprinted because I've been waiting for a copy. And then for the last 2 cards are the kind of like the, not really Exceed package, but the 1 Odd-Eyes Vortex and the 1 Absolute Dragon that actually summons the Odd-Eyes Vortex. So the idea is that because the Mighty Master is level 7, and you can search 2 level 7s and just Pendulum summon 2 copies, or even Reflection. You make Absolute, and then, sorry about that. You make Absolute, and you link it off, and then you get a Vortex, and now you have an Omni Negate that can kind of just cause havoc for your opponent. The deck is pretty good at establishing a semi-consistent board, while being able to break boards if it needs it. So that's the deck, guys. I hope, you know, it's kind of unique. It's not traditional Pendulum spam. That adds more of the Magician stuff, which I'll be bringing at a later date. I'm just kind of waiting for cards to come in the mail. Like Magician Souls makes this card way better, way more accessible, and I'm just waiting for them to come in the mail. So I thought, but this version of the deck wouldn't play it anyway. There's lots of variants that you can play with this deck that can give you all kinds of things. You can play a bigger Mythical Beast engine. You can play more Endymion stuff. You can play more spellbooks. You can play all kinds of stuff that gets you into other things because of the way the deck operates. So, thank you for stopping by, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe. Help me get to 100 subs, and let me know what you guys think. Bye.